Poynter here, and in this video we're going to look at creating a simple project which we can use for other projects going forward. A simple survey, quantitative I guess, but really quite short, in Qualtrics. And at this point I'm assuming that you've got your Qualtrics license set up, you've logged into Qualtrics, and we can see the projects menu. And in the projects menu we have create a project, we will select that. Blank survey project, we will select that, and let's give this a title, so simple survey. And it builds the basic environment for us and gives us a suggested start. And I'm going to suggest that we change this first question because it's a good idea to start with an introduction. So at the moment it's saying the first question is going to be a multiple choice. So if we click on there, we can pick descriptive text. And I've already created my text in a Word file, which means I don't have to keep typing while I'm doing this recording. And you will probably find it useful to likewise create your questionnaire in Word before you start entering it into Qualtrics. You can simply enter it into Qualtrics, but that may not be the easiest way of doing it. So thank you for taking part in this study about shopping for groceries. Could really be any title, and that could be the introduction, but in fact it's a really good idea to talk to people about the privacy, what's going to happen with their data. You want to be GDPR compliant. So let's put that in here. Now in many surveys you would actually have a link from the first page to a URL that gave a full privacy policy. This is a really simple survey. It's not collecting any personally identifiable information, so we can use a very short privacy statement on this occasion. And there we have the first privacy statement, and we can create a new question. So we're going to create a question, and the first question is going to be to ask people how old they are. So we can type that in. What is your age? And then we're going to give people some selections. Now in many studies this would reflect, say, the whole population, maybe people 18 and over, maybe people 16 and over. It might reflect just the business population, so people aged 18 to 65. But for this study, which is focusing on university students, we're going to use a much narrower and younger range of ages. So we'll have 18 to 21, 22 to 25. Actually, let's say years. That will make it clearer as well, won't it? So we'll put years there as well, just to make that clearer. This one here we're going to have 26 to 30 years. Now when we're writing questions we're always very careful to make sure that we don't have overlapping categories. We don't want someone to, if we had 18 to 21, 21 to 25, the 21-year-olds wouldn't know which one to pick. So we make sure that we have adjacent categories, and we're going to add a final one which is over 30 years. So that's given us a question there, and we've got some options about whether to force that question or not. And in fact in Qualtrics there is quite a nice option which is request a response. So if somebody forgets to fill in the question, it reminds them, but it does allow them to proceed without filling in the question. There's quite a lot of discussion in the research industry about when should you force a question, when shouldn't you force a question, and there are extreme views. Some people nearly always force questions, some people nearly always do not force questions, and most people fall somewhere in the middle of that. So we're going to have another question here, which is simply going to be, are you? and then we're going to, in here it's defaulted to, it's made a guess as to what we might want those to be, and in fact it's guessed wrongly. So let's just take that down to a couple of questions. Are you male, female? Actually, on this question we might put ... question mark. And for many years that is what the gender question looked like, but these days we have moved on, and we would tend to put in other, e.g. transgender. And also, because this is becoming a more delicate topic, we also put prefer not to say. Now if we have prefer not to say, we're pretty happy about forcing a response, because they can pick the prefer not to say response. So we've got two questions there which are going to enable us to do a little bit of quantitative research. Now I recommend the following two questions. The first one is a slight recommendation, the second one is a very strong recommendation at the end of every survey. So let's put, did you enjoy the survey? And we are going to put yes, no, and we only want two answers. No, actually we'll have three. Let's have not sure. Is this question going to be forced? No. We're simply trying to find out if the experience was good. If the experience was not good, forcing people to answer is going to make them even unhappier, even less likely to do surveys in the future. And finally, the last question that I put in pretty much every survey I run is a text entry question. I'm going to use an essay box format. I'm going to tell it there is no maximum length, it doesn't have to be added. And what's the question text going to be? Is there anything else you would like to tell us about this topic or this survey? And what you will find is that sometimes that will absolutely save your bacon. You'll find that you've made a bit of a mistake and people will tell you about it. Maybe you've missed a category off, maybe your question isn't clear. So by putting that in, we get all of those options there. And now we have got a simple survey, and we can preview that survey by using this button here. And it shows us what does it look like. And on the right hand side it shows what it looks like on a mobile, and on the left hand side it's more how it would look like on a regular survey. Now if we're going to run this sort of survey on a mobile, I would suggest making it one question per page, as opposed to the current format, which is everything is on a single page. So if we just have a quick look at the look and feel. We have got some general styles in terms of the layout. The layouts can be flat, modern or classic, and you will choose yours as you want to see fit. If you want to look at how it looks on the mobile, we click this button up here. If we go to general, then do we want the next button, a previous button? We've got no progress bar, questions per page. I'm going to tell it that we want one question per page. I'm not using headers or footers. In terms of style, we can choose all sorts of the color and characteristics like that. Page transition, you probably want to stay away from things like slide, fade and flip, but there are all options within that. Auto advance on questions, if all of your questions are single pick answers, and once you've answered the question you want it to simply move forward, then auto advance is a nice way of making your survey run faster. We can load logos in to make it look more businesslike. We can edit the background and put a photo or something like that in. So the only change I made on that occasion was I told it one question per page. Now if we do a preview, you'll see that the first question comes up and then the next question comes up, and here is the prompt. There is one unanswered question on this page. Would you like to continue? Continue without answering, answer the question. So now we can see what the survey looks like. We'll go back. It is saved. If we went to the projects directory, it would show us that here is our simple survey. It's got 5 questions, 1 language. So let's go back into that survey. If we want to use the survey, then we're going to publish it. So we'll click the Analyze. No ways to improve your survey. It's not surprising because it's really very simple. So we'll click the Publish button, and what we get now is this URL link, and we can give that URL link to friends, colleagues, the people we want to do the survey, and they can then do that survey, and the survey is then live. So in other videos in this series, we'll look at how we'll handle data. We will look at making this survey a little bit more complicated, and we will look at surveys that are focused a bit more qualitatively. But that's it for this survey and for this example.